Hi, this is Dipesh here, and as I said, this is Provident Fund Act Part 2 video where we will be discussing on the contribution. Hopefully you have went through the first Provident Act video part. Now we will understand the contribution. So the PF is, as I said, gets 12% and 12% from the employee side and the employer side. Now from the employee side, the entire gets deposited to EPF, but here it's a twist when it comes to employer side. Employers, it gets 3.67 into EPF and 8.33 into pension fund. These are two different buckets of pension and provident fund. Both are retirals and both have their own importance. Okay. Now, as I said, even when you yourself would have withdrawn a PF, there will be two transactions or two messages that would have came to your mobile phone. One would be amount transferred from PF and other would be amount transferred from employee pension fund. So this is why the contribution, how it EPF and employer pension fund. Now what actually components are there, that how 12% gets calculated. Now see what Government of India or the PF rule says. I will directly come on to the Supreme Court ruling. What it says, for the employee, they have kept a threshold of 1800. Till 1800, employer does not have any choice. From 1800, an employer gets a choice and option whether to keep it at minimal of 1800 or surpass it and keep it at 12% of basic. Now this is completely on the employer option, but after 1800, after crossing 1800, that is PF amount, PF deposit amount. But if it's not crossing 1800, the employer does not have any option but to calculate the PF on, that is basic, DA, all allowance which are part of employment letter, and continuous. I will add it over here. Now any employee, basic, you understood what is basic salary. DA, we all know the DA should be there. All allowance means any allowance which forms a part of your employment letter, be it be medical allowance, be it be LTA allowance, be it be city conveyance allowance, special allowance, conveyance allowance, any kind of allowance which is a part of your employment letter and continuous, on that your basic should, your PF, all those components should be taken to calculate the PF amount. Now which component should not be taken? Any allowance which are not continuous and which are not part of your employment letter, such as bonus, statutory bonus. It's once in a year. Over time it gets fluctuate, and again it's not mandatorily a part of your employment letter. So in 1 month you might achieve $200 and in the next month it might be 0. So it's not continuous. Incentives, again it's not continuous, it's target based. If you achieve the target, you get it. If not. Any of prize money, again it's again not continuous, not part of your employment. Any project implementation allowance, all such things which are not in continuous or which does not form a part of your letter, employment letter, does not get involved in calculation of PF. So I'm talking about less than 1800. Now we will take one example. I will just rub my slate again. So let me take an example for allowance. So hopefully till here we understood the PF contribution of 12%, 12% into APF. Employer gets 3.67, 8.33 into employer pension fund. It gets automatically, you don't have to do anything here. The components that are eligible for the PF for the employee less than 1800 And for 1800 plus, an employer has an option whether to cease over at 1800 or whether they can go up from 1800 and can go with 12% of basic. ठीक है. So let me take you to the calculation. So if we take a calculation where the basic, now HRA is not a on HRA, PF is not calculated on HRA. I just missed that point over there. Any allowance which are non-continuous in nature, and also HRA, that is house rent allowance, may, even if it is a part of your employment letter, it will not be considered for the PF calculation. So there is an HRA, this is basic plus DA, HRA and medical allowance, and then we have conveyance, then special allowance. So basic we will keep it as 10,000 for practical easy purpose, HRA we will keep it as 5,000, and then medical we will keep it as 1,000, then conveyance we will keep it as 1,000, and special allowance we will keep as 1,000, and the total comes to 18,000. Okay. Now for the PF calculation you will not take HRA, so we will minus HRA, and how much it is coming as 13,000, and 13,000 ka 12% is 1560 rupees. So 1560 amount will be a part of PF from the employer side also, and 1560 from the employee side also. So we have not considered HRA. HRA should not be considered. In case of any incentives and overtime, it should not be considered. Only fixed components that forms a part of employment. Now in case, just for an hypothetical reason, this is example 1. Now 15 this crosses, so if we take this has to be 20,000. Okay, the basic is 20,000, and the moment it gets 20 it becomes 28,000, and this become 23,000, and 23,000 into 12% is 2760. So this become 2760. Now the moment it gets 1,800, it surpasses 1,800, as I said, the employer has an option to limit it to 1800. So option 1 is limit to 1800, or he might go for 2760. Again it's an option to the employer, that is option 2, or he might straight away go with 12% on basic. So he might directly go to 20,000 into 12%, that is 2,400. So as I said, the moment it crossed this 1800, he has an option whether to go with 1800 straight away, or whether he should go with 2,760, or directly he will go with 12% of basic, that is 2,400. Most of the employee chooses either 1800 or either 12% of basic. This becomes little bit higher on the employee cost to the companies, and see, basically all the companies, all the industries are there for profit making also, wealth generation also. So they take the best of best that is suited for their company. Some company get suited over here, for few companies they get suited over here. So either they might go for 1800 straight away slab, or either they might go for 12% of the basic for any employees who have crossed 1800 mark. For the employees who have not crossed this 1800 mark, they have to take basic, medical, conveyance, special allowance except for HRA, then go for the sample 1 and calculate whatever is their PF, they have to deposit it. Hopefully the calculation is clear, hopefully the logic behind the calculation is clear. That is why we are discussing this point. We are discussing only logics and what are the logics that govern this thing. Okay. So thanks for watching this part 2 video. In part 3 video I will take you through how to easily how easy you can withdraw your provident fund without being into EPF office, without going through your organization channel. The easiest way to withdraw and monitor your PF account. So that will be my part 3. I will upload it in next weekend time. Till that time, please do visit my YouTube channel also. I have uploaded this in YouTube channel also, and please on the LinkedIn also. In case if you feel that there is some mismatch or incorrect information or something should be corrected, do let me know. We'll go back, edit my video and come back to you on this. Thanks a lot guys. Stay safe.